Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Cole. It's Saturday, April 20th. This will be the announcement for week 14 of Political Science 1013 for the spring 2024 term. Everyone, we have a discussion coming up Monday and Tuesday. You all will be seeing this over the weekend, this announcement on Saturday or Sunday, I assume. Monday and Tuesday, the 22nd and 23rd, we have our sixth and last discussion of the term. You're asked to read a short article about Senator Lankford and his involvement in trying to resolve the immigration issue, to discuss what you think of that, whether he did the right thing. So that will be Monday and Tuesday. Thursday the 25th is the deadline for contacting me about your term paper topic. I've heard from a few people already, and I hope we'll have some good papers. But if you would like to do that, I need to hear from you by Thursday, because we're trying to avoid last-minute rush jobs. We want to get your topic so I can advise you about it 2 weeks in advance of the due date, which I believe will be May 9th, after the final exam on May 8th. All right, so that's what's coming up this week. Current events, everybody. Mr. Trump's trial is underway in New York City. It's one of 4 actions against him in New York, Washington, Atlanta, and Miami. This trial, people in the press have said, is the least serious of the 4 charges against him. The other 3 are being delayed and may not take place until after the November election. This trial involves charges that Mr. Trump violated campaign finance laws by altering business records to cover up a payment he made to Stormy Daniels to try to avoid having details of their affair come out that might embarrass him during the election campaign. So, to be clear, the charge is not that he had an affair, but that he violated the law in covering it up. It's an extremely complicated body of law that's involved. But anyway, the trial is underway and the jury has been selected. It's unprecedented, of course, to have this going on with somebody who's pretty clearly the Republican nominee for president. So will he be running after having been convicted of a felony? That remains to be seen. In Congress, everybody, something's going on that's germane to the article about Speaker Mike Johnson that you're reading for the final exam. They are attempting to pass a bill to provide military aid to Ukraine this weekend. The thing about it is, the House Republican Freedom Caucus objects to that. And the Republicans' majority is so narrow they cannot pass that legislation with just Republican votes if the Freedom Caucus holds out. There is a motion to remove Speaker Johnson, filed by Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, a motion to vacate. That's the same thing they did to Speaker McCarthy that you've been reading about in your class notes for Unit 8. Speaker McCarthy was removed. There's some talk that Speaker Johnson may not be removed because the Democrats will help him. They like him better than Kevin McCarthy. They think McCarthy was deceptive while Johnson at least has been straight with them. Last time what happened was all of the Democrats voted against McCarthy and a handful of the Republicans did. And since the Republicans' majority is so narrow, just a couple of seats, that was enough to remove Speaker McCarthy, and that may or may not happen to Speaker Mike Johnson. Everybody, we are moving from Unit 7 to Unit 8. Unit 8 on Congress. What you have there is, on Congress, we talk about Congress from the inside and Congress from the outside. And we're going to begin with the outside in these class notes and move on to Congress inside Washington, D.C. We start out by talking about members' relations with their constituents, which includes how they get elected. And one thing I do at the very beginning of the class notes, I try to be sure that everybody knows who their member of Congress is. So I've tried to include that for the Oklahoma Panhandle and the states surrounding us. So about all my students will be covered. It's important to know who your senators are, but perhaps more important to know who your member of the House is, which will become clear as you look at these notes. Your member of the House will be your go-between if you ever need to contact the federal government because of some kind of problem. So it's really important to know who your House member is. Okay. Now, we talk about how they get elected. Okay. Their political party has little involvement in getting them elected. They run on their own, trying to claim the party mantle of either the Republican or Democratic nomination in the district. One thing about it these days, everybody, most members of the House of Representatives have a safe seat. Not all, but the vast majority. And it seems like more and more of them have safe seats with the passage of time because their districts are drawn that way, to pack their districts with either Republican or Democratic voters, depending on which party the member belongs to. Very few of them get defeated. Okay. These days, they're more worried about being primaried than being defeated in the general election. They're concerned that someone from within their own party will challenge them in their party primary for not having been sufficiently loyal to the party line. Okay. A fairly small percentage of them will get defeated for re-election every couple of years. Once they get in, by and large, they can expect a career in the House of about a decade, after which they may commit some kind of stumble or blunder and get defeated, or they may just quit or run for another office. There are many things they do to perpetuate themselves in office. They try to steer as many benefits as they can to the people of their district. That takes the form of, the terms I use are pork barrel and casework or constituency service. Pork barrel being a colorful term that comes from way back in the Civil War era, refers to spending projects that you try to steer to your district so that you can take credit for them. Okay, well, they may be important or they may not be. They may or may not be wasteful. Many people think that very often they are. But members think it's a good idea to steer as much spending as they can to their district so they can argue that because of their work, their taxpayers have gotten something in return for the taxes that they pay. Now, casework is very similar in some respects, I suppose, but it works on an individual basis. Okay. In my Unit 8 links, I mentioned Congressman Lucas's website. If you go to that website, follow my instructions, you go to the area of his website where he instructs people on what to do to contact his office if they're having some problem with the federal government. Okay. So he's got lots of staff that can help with casework. Whatever particular department of the federal government you're having problems with, whether it's IRS or immigration or some sort of federal regulation that's costing you something and you need intervention, all kinds of things. You look at the units of the federal government that he lists on his website. Okay. So, pretty safe once they get elected, especially to the House of Representatives. And they go to a lot of trouble and expense and effort to provide service to people in their district because they think that perpetuates their re-election. All right, everybody, next time we will talk a bit more about Congress inside of Washington, D.C., how the legislative process works. I will have 2 more of these before the end of the term. One a week from now, and then the week after that, we will be leading up to the final exam. So I don't think there will be any more than 2 messages for the remainder of the term, but I can always be contacted through the course website or at david.cole@opsu.edu. So, discussion this week on Monday and Tuesday. Please get in touch with me by Thursday, the 25th. If you would like to do a term paper, I need to know about your topic. Okay. And please start looking at those Unit 8 class notes. The final exam will cover Unit 7 and 8 and those 4 articles you've been asked to look at online. All right, everybody, we'll be talking to you about a week from now at the same time. Study hard, take it easy, and we'll be talking to you again next weekend. Thanks a lot.